And he went, oh yeah, I spoke to the old lady in the chair. And it was the lady whose funeral they were at.
Good evening and welcome to episode 6 of Your Ghost Stories podcast. Tonight you're in for a fright.
Turn down the lights, settle in and prepare yourself for an eerie journey into the world of spirits, phantoms and things that go bump in the night.
Are you fascinated by the mysterious and the unexplainable? Do you find yourself drawn to the whispers that linger in the darkness?
If so, you've come to the right place. This is Your Ghost Stories podcast.
Right, so Jamie, have you heard the latest in the news this week?
Go on.
A woman who married a ghost on Halloween now wants an exorcism to get rid of him.
No way. She's had enough.
Yeah.
How long's she been with him for?
5 months.
Oh, wow.
And then he ghosted her. Her name is, check this, Rocca Brocardi, 38, from Oxfordshire. Married her husband Eduardo 5 months after meeting him on Halloween last year.
Oh, wait, this is a serious thing. I thought you were telling me a joke.
No, this is serious. But she says that now she wants to end their marriage as Eduardo, who she claims is a ghost of a Victorian soldier, because he's stalking her. He's everywhere she goes. She can't get away from him.
Quite great name though, Eduardo. It's a good name for a ghost, isn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty cool actually. I might get a pet bird and call it Eduardo.
And stalk you everywhere.
I'm at the end of my tether. I don't want to admit defeat, but it feels like being married to a ghost just doesn't work.
No shit.
It took her 5 months to work that one out.
I think she's nuts.
This week we have Faye from Brampton sharing her experiences. So without further ado, do you want to introduce yourself, Faye?
Hiya. Actually, I'm Huntington now, but I grew up in Brampton. My name's Faye. I'm a mother of one, and that's all there really is about me, to be honest.
You reached out to us, I believe, on social media and said you had some stories to share. So yeah, we hope you've been enjoying the podcast so far. Have you listened to all the episodes?
Yes, all of them. I'm a big fangirl.
You're our number one fan. You've beat Nigel's mum.
Oh, finally, my dreams come true.
She'll be upset about that.
Oh, don't tell her. I don't want her to beat me up.
We like to start the show kind of asking, so what are your beliefs with everything ghosts, paranormal? Like, have you always been a believer or a bit of a skeptic? Or
I'll believe it when I see it before. So I am a believer now, but I don't think everything is a ghost. Not everything, not noise. Like, oh, it's the ghost. I'm a believer with skeptic tendencies. I think that because my husband is a massive skeptic and he's very logical, so he can work things out that I'd be like, oh my God, it's a ghost. So, like aliens, yeah, terrified of them. Don't want to talk about them.
Nigel's actually an alien.
Yeah, can't you tell?
I can believe that.
It is good to be to have someone around who is skeptic, because it almost sort of grounds you, so you don't get too carried away. Because the whole sort of I get it, especially if I'm with a group of people and they start to panic, it makes me start to panic as well. And it could be, someone's thrown something, makes a noise, and it freaks you out, but you're only freaking out because everyone else is.
Yeah, my husband's just like, oh, come on, it's not that. And I'm like, no, it's definitely a ghost. It's definitely a ghost. Every time.
Yeah, I definitely know what you mean, because I spent, when I was much younger, I was probably about 18 years old. It's quite naive and everything. And I was working in an office, and one of my good friends, he was very, very into conspiracy theories and stuff. Don't get me wrong, I love a good conspiracy theory, but I also love a good fact. And I think, as long as there's evidence and proof behind it, then it's worth listening to and worth looking into. But yeah, any kind of conspiracy theory that he would bring my way, I'd be like, whoa, man. And, yeah, it's funny how things change when you get older.
But did you believe the Queen's a lizard?
That was one of the first ones he told me, actually. And we actually high-fived the guy who come up with that. We high-fived him at a protest in London a few years ago. David Icke.
Oh, she's a dead lizard now.
Yeah, yeah. Dried up on a rock. So do you think the Queen's a lizard?
I mean, King Charles, he definitely is with them hands, isn't he?
Oh, he's definitely a lizard, yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Bursting out the skin, innit?
Trying to shed.
Well, he's definitely cold-blooded. That goes without saying. The people he's hung around with.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
But yeah, all right. So let's talk about ghosts. So just for our listeners at home, Faye, I know it's rude to ask, but how old are you?
I'm 36 this month.
36. Cool. So you've had 36 of life experiences and ghost experiences.
Yeah.
So if you can, take us all the way back to the very beginning and tell us your first experience with the paranormal.
Okay, so we moved in to a house in Brampton when I was 10, so a very long time ago because I'm very old. So we moved into this house, and it's a lovely house. It didn't get any weird feelings. It was beautiful, and we were there a couple of months, and then we could hear what sounded like somebody running up and down upstairs. But it would only be me and my sister that would hear it. So I was 10 and she was 12. So I know that people say that when you're coming into being a teenager, you're more likely to experience paranormal stuff. So we'd hear like proper, like somebody was running full speed, and we knew it wasn't our neighbour because he was like, we could hear him, so we knew his noises, and we knew it wasn't our cats. And then so we were like to our parents, like, did you hear that? And they were like, no, we never hear it when we're like home alone. And then as we got older, we would hear it more and more. And then my friends would come over and they would hear it. And then we would hear like banging on the floor. Things started to go missing. And that's how it all started. And then, so how old was I? So when I was about 14, 15, so the banging and all the stuff disappearing went on for quite a while. And then when I was 15, I saw... it sounds so weird saying it, but I saw a ghost for the first time. And it was 1:30 in the morning. I remember that because my cat had woken me up because he'd sat on my head. And because it's what he did. And so I woke up and I was all like, oh, what's going on? Why are you sitting on my head? And then he stopped cleaning himself and he just looked at the wall. So I looked as well. And I just saw this apparition just come out the wall that had no face. And it really, really slowly started to like move across my bedroom. Like it was completely silent, and it looked like smoke. And it went slowly into like my parents' room. And I know it wasn't I can't say the word sleep paralysis. Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
It wasn't that, because I was fully awake. Like I was fully awake, and I know my cat was awake as well, as weird as that sounds. So that was the first time that I was all like, oh, that's what all that noise was.
So how would you describe the way this looked? I know you said it kind of looked like smoke, but did it look like a person, or was it just kind of a ball of energy? Or
no, it was a woman. So she had like, I couldn't remember the clothes. It was just, I know it's like really stereotypical, but it was white and just hovering way off the ground. And so like kind of the clothes kind of turned into like nothing, and it had like a trail behind it. So like, you know, what you think of a ghost, that's what it looked like, but it had no face whatsoever.
So you could see everything from the head to the toes kind of thing?
Yeah. Full body apparition. And I shat myself.
Did you say it went into your parents' room? Did they say anything the next morning, or did they experience anything, or was it they asleep?
They were asleep, and I didn't say anything when I got up because I was kind of just like, that was weird. So I went to school and I told my friends, and they were like, yeah, your house is fucking weird. And then, so I came home, I told my mum, and she was like, where did it go? And I was like, your bedroom. And her face went a bit white, like, oh God. And then I found out recently, I didn't know this until my sister told me, that my mum saw it before I did, but she never mentioned it. She saw the same thing.
What about your dad? Did your parents, both of them, experience things in the house, or?
I don't know if my dad did. Like, he's had ghost experiences in the past, but he's like, you know, the protector. He wouldn't say things because he doesn't want to scare, because we were quite young. But yeah, so my mum, she now denies it, and we don't know why. I think she's like so scared she's become a skeptic.
It's funny you say that, because my mum does the same. So me and my two older sisters, if you've heard the podcast, when I was talking about my experiences in the first episode, we hands down swear that that house was so haunted, and our mum to this day denies that it wasn't. But even things happened to her, and she even saw apparition and stuff. And when we talk about it, she's like, "Oh no, it wasn't." It's just a mum thing, isn't it? Like you're saying, they're trying to protect you and not make you be scared.
Yeah, because she's all like, "Oh, that didn't happen." We're like, I remember you screaming because you saw something. This is another time, I'll get onto that. But she saw something and she screamed the house down. But she's like, I think she just likes to pretend it wasn't real.
Yeah.
But but I found like, so my sister said, "Oh, Mum saw the same thing as you. She just didn't tell you because she saw it before me. She didn't tell you because you would have been terrified because it was in your room."
So how old is the house?
I'm like 70, so it's not really old. But the only research we've done for it is a man died there, but we never saw a man. We saw a woman. So I don't know. Yeah, so I don't know what was.
That's a bit strange.
In, like, I think Brampton was all fields before. From what I've gathered, from what my nan used to go, like, "Oh, this was all fields when I was young."
Yeah, I think it was a bit like St. Neots, where most of that was just like all fields until building new houses and stuff. But yeah, it's a bit strange.
Yeah, who knows what that area was or could have been, hundreds of years ago, even thousands of years ago.
Yeah, because she looked old. That makes sense. Like what I could see of her clothes, what I can remember, they were old. Like, not a bit, pretty older than Victorian, so pretty old. So that was the first time I saw her. That wasn't the last time I saw her though.
Wow.
Oh wow. Carry on.
I kind of, for ages, I would sleep in my sister's room because I was like, I'm not going back in there. No way. And then eventually I obviously felt braver and I went back in, and then I didn't see anything for like another year. Like, we still hear the banging and stuff would still disappear and then reappear, like all that sort of stuff. And then I woke up again at 1:30 in the morning. I can't remember why. I think my cat must have sat on my head again because he did it all the time. And I woke up and I saw her head, I saw her face this time. And like, I was just like, nope, and left that room, like, I'm out of it. And then I would never sleep in there ever again. And my sister moved in there and I moved in her old room.
Do you get the feeling that maybe your cat could sense it as well and was kind of looking for comfort?
Yeah, every cat we had would just stare at the same place.
Wow.
We were in that house a long time. So, but every cat would be freaked out by the hallway or this one corner that she would come out of.
I think it's a bit of a myth, but I'm sure everyone on this call has heard it. But they say, as they say, animals can definitely sense things. They've got more senses than us. But they also say that animals that are afraid, or, if the house is haunted or whatever, that apparently the animals won't go up the stairs. But I don't believe that's true because my dog at my mum's house, he's up and down the stairs, and so many weird things have happened there. So, yeah. It
depends if, like, the spirit is malevolent. How's the word? I'll say evil because I can't say the other word.
You say you saw this face. So what was it doing? Was it just coming out of the wall, sort of thing?
Yeah, like very slowly her face was just coming out of the wall. I remember thinking, fuck this, I'm out of it. Like, I'm done, there's no more.
Do you remember the expression on her face at all?
It was just completely neutral, like she didn't know I was there, just doing her thing.
That's creepy in itself,
isn't it?
Floating away.
Yeah, I'm glad she didn't know I was there though.
What would you have done if she looked at you directly in the eye?
I would have shat myself. Just funny diarrhea everywhere. And I would have been proud of it as well. I wouldn't be ashamed.
I don't think I would be able to keep a cool composure. If I saw something now, I think, the same thing would happen. Explosive gut syndrome.
That happens on a daily basis, doesn't it, Nigel? Without the ghosts.
See, my sister never saw anything in that room, but she would be like on her computer and she would feel somebody was standing right behind her all the time. Or she'd be in bed and feel like someone was in the room.
Something was definitely sort of located to that certain bedroom.
Yeah, we never really had anything downstairs. It all just happened upstairs. So like, when I moved into the smaller room, on an odd occasion, I'd be in bed and I would feel someone leaning over me that wasn't there. It was just, it's weird because we were terrified at the time, but it wasn't a horrible feeling. It was just, this shouldn't be here feeling.
Do your parents still live in the same house?
No, they actually moved out about 8 years ago, and it was really hard to sell the house because it was quite a big house. Like, we got it quite cheap because it was haunted. But so it was a good location, and when people used to really like it because my dad, he's a welder, so he made like this 6-foot black metal knight outside the house. So it used to get loads of like people want to come and see in it. So, but selling it was really hard, and my mum got a phone call from the estate agent that said he went to show a man around today, walked in and went, "Oh God, no, I can't do this," and he ran out. And it wasn't we got a lot of people going like, "This house doesn't feel right." So we felt like she was waiting for the right family to come along, because we named the ghost as well. So
what was her name?
Agnes.
That's a good name for a ghost.
Yeah, we just called it, "Oh, Agnes is playing up again." So that it was quite hard for parents to move.
Obviously, you're a fan of kind of ghosts and stuff. Have you listened to the BBC4 podcast? I think it's Uncanny.
Yeah, I love it. Absolutely love it.
Yeah, it's brilliant, isn't it?
Yes.
I didn't actually know about it until after we started this podcast. A friend recommended it, and yeah, I think I've listened to all of them now. But just going back to what you said, I find it really interesting about spirits kind of being connected to teenagers, because yeah, that's come up in so many cases before. I don't know what it is. Like, what could it be about a teenager? Is it their energy or their kind of naivety? Like, what do you think it could be that's kind of attracts them to teenagers?
I've heard it's something to do with hormones, because your whole body's changing. I don't know how that's the thing, but this is what I've heard from other ghost programs and podcasts and stuff. Yeah, that the hormone change is like they get attracted to it.
Yeah, I think you're onto something there. Because from personal experience as well, when I was growing up, I was very kind of emotional, angry, and a lot of things happened to me around that time. So yeah, I think you're right. You're definitely onto something with hormones.
The more my friends would come over, obviously we were all like 13, 14, it would go mental. The banging would go mental. It obviously loved teenage girls like Jimmy Savile did, you know? It's that sort of ghost. Like my friend,
what are these bloody teenagers doing in my house?
So my friends saw things as well, and they were like, "I don't like being in the house by myself." Like, one of my friends said that the way my room was set up, so my room was kind of like, it was the box room.
Yeah.
And but it had like a little alcove, and my CD player was there, and I was turning off a CD at the time, and she was like, "I'll meet you downstairs." She waited for me on the stairs. She said she saw a shadow come out of my room and run across the hallway, and then like 10 minutes later I came out.
Wow, that's creepy.
Yeah. So she was like, she's pretty cool ghost and stuff. Like, she doesn't get freaked out easily. She's like really chilled. And she was like, "Can we just go? Please, can we just go?" And I was all like, "Yeah, okay." Like, another friend scared off.
Did it feel kind of evil, or was it kind of more...
It
just uncomfortable?
Yeah, like, it's like she shouldn't be there. That's how it felt, but not evil. Just, I don't like that I'm not home alone, because you never ever felt alone in that house ever.
Yeah, that's not a nice feeling.
No, like, I would hate it. Like, if my parents would go away and my sister was away, I'd stay at a friend's. I was like, I can't stay in this house by myself because I'm a coward.
I feel the same, to be honest. If I have to be especially in my old house, if I had to be in there on my own, I really didn't want to sleep in that house on my own for quite some time, actually. It's strange that the feeling you get within a house, because the house I'm in now, I've got no feeling whatsoever. When it's empty, like it is right now, it just feels empty. Like, it's just me here. There's nothing. Whereas in my previous house, it's always felt like, I don't know, there's like eyes in the corner of the room watching you, or something's just sort of like someone's in the next room. You feel like as you say, like a presence. It's just
know, don't you?
Yeah, definitely, yeah. But
I mean, I've lived in like 3 houses with my husband and stuff, and I've never had anything like that ever again. It's just this one house. And my sister said, like, because my sister's boyfriend says to her, like, "How would you know a house is haunted?" And she's like, "You just know, you just feel it."
Yeah, definitely. My experience with my previous house, it all came when I was sleeping, actually. Like, I witnessed most of the things while I was asleep. Like, I'd wake up to hearing a door slam, or I'd wake up to knocking on my bedside cabinet, and it was all targeted like to me. And it's like my other half. I was like, "Did you hear that?" Like, no, you're crazy. And I'm like, I definitely heard that. And I had to like search the house to make sure that no one was in there. Yeah, it's proper freaky when something like that happens to you.
Because like, they always seem to like one person as well. They always get attached to one person.
Yes, that's quite common, isn't it? Again, with hormonal teenage girls, go soon to love the teenage girls. But
maybe it will stop for you, Nige, because you grew out of your teenage girl phase.
Well, saying that, yeah, like in my teenage years, that's when the experience stopped. So
I've had something on holiday once in a house, but apart from that, I've never had anything that is as weird as the house I grew up in. One of my other friends, she's a skeptic, and she was like, no, your house wasn't right. She was like, something about it just wasn't right. I can tell you about when my mum saw this big shadow, if you want, in the house.
Yeah, go for it.
I was about 19 because I was going out with this guy, and he was like 6'3", and he was a brick shit house. And he wasn't staying over, but my mum said she went to the loo and said she went with all the lights out. I don't know why, she just did. And she came out and she saw, even in the dark, this massive shape. And originally she thought, oh, it's Faye's boyfriend. And then she was like, he's not here. And it was stood in front of my door, just wouldn't let her pass. And she screamed that house down. Like, I had her run back in her room, and then my dad came shuffling out, and he was like, there's no one there, Jill. There's no one there. Faye's boyfriend's not here. And then I had to go to the loo, and I was all like, I'll have to hold it all night now because it's outside my door. That was terrifying. And the scream she did is like a horror movie scream. And it was like middle of the night, and I was all like, oh no.
Well, I mean, this sounds like, what's it, what they called, is it shadow people?
Yeah.
So usually when you see like the black shadow, they describe it as blacker than black. So it's a black that stands out against black, which is kind of weird saying, but yeah, but they're meant to be associated with, as I say, evil and malicious sort of spirits. So I mean, it's
great.
Yeah, it's quite spooky. And you said that was seen twice in that house.
Yeah.
So lucky for you, your family aren't there anymore.
I know. Me and my friend drove past that house yesterday, and I'm like, I wonder if they have anything. Like, I want to ask, but I don't want, like, they've got young kids, so I don't want to be like, oh, how's the ghost? And then the kids be like, what?
Traumatize them.
Yeah.
What kind of house is it? Could you describe it to us?
I've got a picture of it, actually. I can send it to you if you want.
Yeah, please do.
It just looks like, I mean, it looks a bit trash now because the people that live there haven't really upkept it, but you wouldn't look twice at it. It just looks like a normal semi-detached house. It's just, standard British house one. You
said you have another story for us, so the one where you're on holiday. Feel free to talk about that one.
Okay, so this was about 5 years ago. We went on a big family holiday. We stayed in, where was it? It was near Wales. It was like middle of nowhere. And my mum was like, oh, I found this cottage really cheap. We kept like joking, like, oh, no one's been there since the murders and stuff, because it was like tucked away on a hill. And as we came into the village, everyone stopped and stared at us like in a movie. So it was like setting it all up. And it was a beautiful house. It was huge. I think it had, I think it was like an Airbnb sort of thing more than a holiday sort of thing. That makes sense.
Yeah.
And who obviously lived there before had carers, because they had downstairs, they had one of those hospital beds. And it was a beautiful house, didn't feel anything. And then upstairs was like, kind of had an open plan balcony. And at night time, I woke up because I could hear someone running up and down the hallway. And I was all like, I don't want to wake up my husband because he's going to be like, oh, you're being stupid, whatever, because he's a skeptic. So I just laid there like, there's definitely someone running up and down. And I was like, I don't think my sister would be doing it, or my parents. And then I went back to sleep. And in the morning, I said, who was running up and down? And my sister said, I heard that. And both my parents heard it. And my husband was actually awake. And all night, we heard it all night. Yeah. And he went, oh, that was a bit weird, wasn't it? That's mostly him admitting something paranormal you'll ever get with my husband.
It's always good when something happens to a skeptic, like a full-on skeptic.
Yeah, it's like, yeah.
Take that.
And it was just, and then we all then the house kind of felt different after a couple of days. We would hear it every single night about the same time. And it's so I have a recurring dream every single night since, and it's about that house.
Wow, no way.
Yeah, every single night I have a dream about that house.
Still to this day, you have a dream
Yeah.
about that house?
Yeah,
Wow.
every single night for 5 years.
What is the dream? Can you remember what the dream's about?
Yeah, it's like it's falling apart and I'm just walking around it and I'm trying to find something in there. It's the same thing every single night.
Have you looked into maybe the history of that house at all?
No, I haven't, Al. I don't know why. I just never have. I probably should do. I've got to try and find where it was again. My mum should have all the details still. But we're like, well, now we know why it was so cheap and everyone was staring at us as we were going up the hill.
I've literally just got back from Wales, actually. I should have probably stayed at that cottage.
I mean, it was it was huge. It was huge. And it was, like, beautiful. But, like, and then there was the room that had the hospital bed and me and my sister were too scared to go in there. We were like, husband, can you get us a blanket from the dead room?
The dead room.
Just too scared to go in there after that. That's so weird. Like, that house is real, stayed with me.
Yeah, it's fascinating that you're still having those dreams. Do you think there's like something has kind of stayed with you, or got inside you?
Yeah, like, it feels like ghosts seem to really like me, and I don't know why, because I'm not that interesting.
Oh, maybe you have that that special touch, that kind of, maybe you're a medium without knowing it, or clairvoyant.
Oh, that'd be annoying.
Maybe if you explored, yeah, like, shut up, I'm trying to sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe if you explored that side more and kind of enhanced the skills, you could be, if they're constantly trying to communicate with you, then who knows?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind. Because my dad has, like, ghosts like my dad as well. He's had some weird stuff happen to him as a kid and stuff. So he was too young to go to a funeral, but it was like my nan's nan had died or something. And so my dad was too young to go. So he stayed with some friends in the nan's house, and he'd never met this nan ever because she was old and he was too young. And so my grandparents went to the funeral, came back and said to my dad, "Oh, did you have a nice time with Auntie whoever?" And he went, "Oh yeah, I spoke to the old lady in the chair." And it was the lady whose funeral they were at.
Just got shivers down my spine.
Creepy.
Yeah, and they were just like, "Okay, Andrew, let's go home."
Please, let's not talk about the old lady. Let's just crack on.
Yeah. Like, my granddad used to go ghost hunting in St. Ives and stuff, and we're quite a weird family.
No, it's cool. I mean, St. Ives is a very old town, so it's got a lot of history. I used to live there, actually, and
Oh, did you?
Yeah, so I'm sure there's some stories to tell there.
Is it Golden Line? Is that what it's called, pub?
Yeah.
That's supposed to be really haunted. That's where he did ghost hunting.
Oh, nice. I used to live about 10 doors down from it.
Oh, right. You could have had a ghost coming in your house.
I think my house I never experienced anything. It was massive. It was like a big flat, and I think it's from the 1700s.
Oh, really old then.
It was really old, but yeah, I never experienced anything there. And I spent a lot of time there, for 2 years by myself, and yeah, nothing at all.
You never know though, do you, where they're going to be? So, because apparently a lot of new build houses are quite haunted because of the land they're on. I've heard that. So, like, you're not safe anywhere from them. Another one I've been is, have you ever been to Greyfriars in Scotland?
No.
It's a graveyard.
Okay, cool.
And it's beautiful. Like, it's over the top. And we went on a tour there, me and my family, years ago. And they said, like, so you go around and you look at all the graves, and they're all like tombs, so like huge. And they say there's the Greyfriars poltergeist. And they talk about it on Uncanny recently, actually. And so we went there, and then it was a really hot day. It was like height of summer, even in Scotland, that's not that warm. But, and I remember I got really cold, like freezing. Like, I wasn't scared before, but it was like someone had tipped a bucket of ice water on me. And like they were like, "Yeah, you can't come in because the poltergeist is so dangerous." I think it said they're one of the most dangerous poltergeists in the world.
Yeah.
So then my mum was like, "Well, I'll stay outside with Faye," because, she was probably scared. So my dad and sister went into the tomb with the tour, and my sister and my dad didn't stand near each other. And they said the tour guide was talking, doing the whole blah, 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 blah. And they could hear someone else copying what they were saying, like whispering in an undertone, and he said they're looking around and no one was doing it.
That sounds awesome. I'd love to visit.
We'll have to go.
I won't go back there. It's horrible. Yeah, it's hot.
Really, that bad?
Yeah, really bad. Like, apparently there's 6 levels of poltergeist and he's a level 5.
Wow. All right, so Faye, thank you so much for joining us. We've really enjoyed listening to your stories, and by the sounds of it, we've got some new and exciting places to visit. We really appreciate you coming on, and we really appreciate listening to the podcast as well.
Okay, thank you for having me.
No, thank you.
Bye.
As our tales of the supernatural draw to a close, we must say goodbye for another week, but fear not, dear listeners.
If you are hungry for more bone-chilling tales, join us again next Wednesday for our next haunting journey together.
If you're enjoying the show, remember to come find us on social media. We're on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook with the tag @yourghoststoriespodcast.
If you've got your own story to tell us and want to get involved and join in on the show, please email us at yourghoststoriespodcasts@gmail.com.
Until next week, sleep tight.